Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel, and I'm your host for LT Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Beyond the Gates. This is episodes 89 through 93. Just this past episodes of between July 14th through the 18th. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video in support of me, and you can leave your comments below. And if you are new, please subscribe. So let's get into this week's episodes. Now, I don't think I'm going to be before you too long. I more wanted to have a discussion than just a normal review. We know the biggest thing to talk about from this week is the big reveal from Martin. We finally find out what exactly happened to Martin and how this story became such an umbrella story right before our eyes. So, just to catch you up, Madison, she was worried about Chelsea being stalked by Allison because Allison is still around talking about how their relationship was. Just trying to get under Madison's skin. Chelsea doesn't think that she's being stalked. It's just someone who's just whatever's got going on with her life. And I would think that Chelsea would pay more attention to that, especially being in the industry that she has been in all this time. I'm sure that she's able to pick up on stalkers. But I think possibly she's blinded because it was Chelsea that always wanted the relationship, and Allison wasn't biting, and she just wanted to be a part of her, just wanted to be a part of her marriage. That's it. I don't know, but y'all can chime in on what you think of this. But I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. All right, so Naomi, she found out that June has a sister who considers June to be deceased. That's a little nugget. We'll probably be tugging on that now since Martin's secret has been exposed, and now they can start pushing other stories forward that they've been laying nuggets down for. This girl, Haley, she's already craving stuff during her pregnancy, and she just got pregnant. Ashley is there. She's at Orphagenes, and she's doing all this ordering of stuff and saying every 2 seconds, "I'm pregnant. I'm with child." Of course, Ashley was like, as far as with her medical experience, that usually doesn't start happening until the second or third trimester. Really, Haley doesn't have any answers for it, but she's just kind of going with the flow of what she thinks is going on with her body. We already know that she did not get an ultrasound. And now she's having pregnancy cravings after just a week or two of being pregnant. Martin, remember last week we saw Ken getting cozy with Samantha? He ends up punching her out. Of course, we know that Samantha doesn't know what's going on. They get into it a little bit. And a lot of things did erupt at home. Smitty at this point is just like over it and done. Because it's like, tell me what's going on. And Martin said he will. You got to trust me and allow me to do this. And Smitty says, I have been trusting you. I have been patient. But I don't want to do that anymore. And he was low-key, trying to say, if you don't tell me what's going on, don't come back through this door. But he did, Let's see. Martin ends up holding a press conference. I believe that this was Tuesday. He was ready to reveal, or ready to confess, his sins to the public. Bill stopped him from doing this and showed Martin a picture of Kenneth being dead. And we find out that Marcel was the one that did it. So at that point, Martin ended up halting the press conference and just, no. Vanessa was at the press conference too and was talking with Joey and putting pressure on him to tell her what's up. Like, there has to be a connection here. We got Marcel here. We got Bill here. We got you here. Just randomly. What's going on? At this point, Joey snapped and was like, look, you're not going to keep pushing me and all this stuff. You are in over your head trying to think that you are really this mob boss within this world. So, STFU and eat your greens, basically. In another scene Vanessa has with Danny, she says, resuming modeling career would send an important message to mature women. not just in the industry, but to women that you are beautiful at any stage of life that you're at. Vernon ended up tearing into Bill for allowing Ken to be murdered. And Danny, after Vernon actually just went in on Bill, Danny and Bill, they had a conversation, and you could always tell how his conversation was going is that he knew that Vernon never really approved of him. And Bill also said that he was disappointed in Bill's own father, whatever the history is there. Ugh. So we finally get to the big reveal. Martin tells Smitty what exactly happened. We find out that Martin and the senator, Vernon, they were traveling from somewhere doing something political. They ended up giving him a flat tire, and Martin was going to change it. He goes out the doors and starts fixing the tire, and two white gentlemen approached them. First Martin and then Vernon got out of the car. And basically they were quite suspicious and started to harass Vernon and Martin and demanding money. When they weren't doing that and all that good stuff, then one of the guys ended up punching and attacking Vernon. Martin wanted to defend his grandfather and himself, and he started attacking the dude, one of the dudes. And he had his little tire iron thing and was just beating him. It was basically a killed or be killed type of situation. And he ended up killing one of the guys. The other guy was there. Martin didn't kill him, but ended up beating him to a pulp, disfiguring his face. So basically all of this was over a hate crime. We find out, the things that happened afterwards that they had to do to try to cover it up. Vernon really took over with the cover up type of situations. What they did is they had reconstructive surgery done to the man's face because it was very disfigured. Ted did that. That's how Ted comes into this situation. Martin didn't know that at the time. Later on, like we saw, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that Ted was in on the meeting too. But yeah, he did the surgery and they paid him off to go live someplace else. I said, Lord. Bill was involved in it. Marcel was involved in it. All that good stuff. They hid the crime. Whatever they did with the body, they did with the body. Elon is a part of it because he was there too. So Martin's been dealing with that for 2 years. Smitty had compassion hearing everything that he was going through. And Smitty goes on to say, what happened during that time frame, all that time that I had asked you what was going on. I did my best to try to help you, and you were dealing with that all alone. You also had put our family in danger. Because before he didn't want Martin to come home because of the whole Ken thing approaching their children. Like, no, I got to protect our home. And obviously there's something there that's not right. You won't tell me what's up, and you can't stay here tonight. Da 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 da. So they have this talk. And it's like, for 2 years you've been lying to me, you've been covering it up, and I can't trust you. And I don't even understand why you didn't tell me what was going on. Of course, it was told to him, he needs to do this, by Vernon. And Smitty kicked him out. You go. Because I can't deal with you and how you actually deal with me as your husband, as your lover, as your friend. I mean, I was the one terrified watching you wake up in the middle of the night, having bad dreams. We find out later in the week, Martin was given different breathing patterns by Smitty. And still, at least at the beginning of when the soap started, you were treating him wrong, Martin. So it's just like, I'm doing all this, and you can't be truthful with me. And I've been there as a rock, and I'm locked in. I said this last week. I said, Martin, you better go on and tell him. Smitty is locked in. He's not going anywhere. Don't be a fool right now. But under direct orders, he had to stay quiet, and also what he chose to stay quiet for. I'm not going to just alleviate him for him being honest despite whatever was told for him to do. I really do feel for Martin and Vernon because this was a very delicate and difficult situation. Because when you're dealing with even a hate crime, what are the chances of them, the government, actually believing it and taking your side? As a black person, we're in 2025 and things still have not changed. I understand it, and we're going to get into a little bit more at how I feel, because we got different generations here, and you're seeing the different reactions from different generations and what they've actually experienced. Samantha and Tyrell, they were told redacted versions of the story, and Samantha, she sides with Martin, and Tyrell sides with Smitty in this whole situation, which I thought was going to be a total switch up, but possibly because of the embarrassment that Tyrell did get and was feeling. I could tell that that was probably his motivation at choosing which father to side with in this whole situation. So Vernon and Anita, they're upset that Martin is in debt to Joey after Ken was taken out of the earth. They knew it was impossible to come clean about the hate crime for fear of retaliation from Joey. That is so crazy. All these people got all this power hold on one of the most prominent families within on the East Coast. That is crazy. Y'all didn't let a gangster get over on y'all, even though Bill was calling the shots. Nicole was puzzled, knowing that the press conference had ended. She comes by the Dupree home. Martin is there, and she sees him, and she wants to know what's going on. Martin's like, I really can't tell you right now, but I will later on. I just got to get something in my stomach, and I got to breathe. Go somewhere and breathe. So Anita ends up telling Nicole what happened to Martin. Nicole was able to rationalize, okay, there was a hate crime. What she couldn't really rationalize is the cover-up and what people decided to do that were in her family concerning her child. Y'all mishandled my child, and he did all of this stuff, been dealing with all of this for over 2 years, and not even therapy or anything. Because remember, Vernon said, maybe therapy could be something, but you can't tell them what happened. How in the world were you going to fix this? He murdered someone, Vernon. And that's why I'm starting to throw out about the different generations and what they've had to go through. And something about the black race and how they deal with trauma and deal with stress and all of that. That's been sitting on his head for 2 years, and it had not been getting any better. So Nicole was not well at all. I don't even know if she really yelled, but people online saying that she yelled. But she just found it very disgusting. Y'all didn't think to tell me. Y'all didn't think to help out my child. Nothing. Da 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 da. And Anita said, if we had to do all over again, I'd do it again. I'm not apologizing for us making the choices. I get the stance that they took. And what I meant by, there's different generations involved in this. If you think of Anita and Vernon, they had to have lived through the Jim Crow and Civil Rights era. They know what it's like. They know about the lynchings. They know about all of this stuff that could happen to black people and what did happen to black people during those times. They mentioned that Nicole, that they feel like they probably sheltered Nicole and Danny, that you don't see certain aspects of the real world, even despite being a therapist and all of that. I find that a little surprising just because we see how much that they fight political. Maybe because they were women and flowing under patriarchy, they didn't feel the need to actually include their daughters into this type of political fight, or not even political fight, even racial fight. Look, we're not saying that they ever were. We're not in the ghetto, all that. We're going to take you away from that. And some parents do that. They try their best to get people out of certain environment, their children out of certain environments, and allow them to go someplace else, so that they don't have to deal with any of that. However, not ever teaching them, even as the world and society and how it operates. Nicole is angry, and again, it's her child. You have yet another person in her life that's been lying to her, that's been covering it up. And the only reason it's being told is because they have no other choice but to tell. Ted did the same thing. I think, Anita did say how Ted played a part in this. If she has fury, I understand it. I understand it. Like, how do y'all just go on? And my child is dealing with stuff and we don't even know what's going on. And God couldn't even comprehend to go on and help this child out. And it looks, and I think so too, that it was a lot of to do with appearances. I do believe that, we know how the system is set up and we were going to go down if this happened. I do get that. I really do believe that. But because of how the Duprees like to position themselves in situations, it could very well look like an image thing too. Now, there's things I want to say, because the one person that I have no respect for is Bill. We know at the beginning of this season, or the beginning of this soap, Bill held over Anita, Vernon, and Martin's head regarding this secret. He wanted to play a power play against the Duprees and made them show up to his wedding. How in the world could you hang a hate crime? But you wanted to really feed into what the Duprees are about as far as their image and all of that. That you would use a hate crime against your people, your race. Forget if they were your in-laws or not. Your race. That says a lot about you. And Chelsea and Naomi, I don't know how you're going to deal with this. It's a lot. And I have no respect for him whatsoever. It was all a power play that you wanted done, and in an attempt to humble Vernon and Anita, which is very disgusting. Danny, how is Danny going to react? You made me go to my husband's wedding that I didn't want to go to, while he was weaponizing my nephew's trauma. And you still got upset with me because of what my actions were, because I was dealing with trauma too. You didn't care about my trauma, and you did not care about Martin's trauma. As we know with Black folks, therapy isn't an option. Therapy is not an option, unfortunately. And he needed it. Martin needed that. For real. Ooh, but this is a heavy story. I'm glad that CBS allowed it to be told. I think with the backing of the NAACP, that's why there wasn't a fight. Ooh. I enjoyed this week. For real, I enjoyed it. This was heavy. It's been the talk of social media. Oh my God, it was a lot. It's a lot to play in. Do I understand where the Duprees were coming from? Yes. Did they handle everything right? Nope. Smitty and Nicole have their right to feel this way. I don't know how Danny's going to take it. I would take it how I've been explaining it to you. Y'all played with trauma, and it looks like it's for an appearance. So Elon, he wanted to examine the footage from the conference that Martin had. Jacob, he got upset with Smitty because now he's starting to hold back. And he knows that there's something there now. But didn't you say, Jacob, if something was to start incriminating Jacob or Martin, that Smitty's going to have to back up? Just like it was something with Elon. So I'm confused as to why you're upset. Sorry. Samantha goes to Tyrell's room and says, "Hey, I'm hearing Jacob and Smitty talk, and I think that there's more to what was even told to us." Vernon does go to Martin where he's trying to eat something. And the thing that disturbed me is that when Martin was saying, the choices I made were probably not good for my marriage and my family. And Martin was like, the people needed you. If you told Smitty back then now or now, it still wouldn't have changed anything. It probably wouldn't have changed anything, but guess what? Now he's about to lose his marriage or could lose his marriage. And I feel like how Vernon came off is just like this position was more important than his family. Smitty may not be built like Anita. And just take it and just go on and forgive. And hopefully the in-laws check on him. Don't do that to him, y'all. I hope y'all check on him. Check on Smitty. Because he has been ride or die this whole time. So, a lot's going to happen next week too, but I'm glad it's out and we can discuss further, and things are kind of explaining itself now from what we thought we knew or was trying to figure out what was going on. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's episode or episodes. Mine's more short because I just really wanted to talk in regards to this whole Martin situation. Even after Martin treating Smitty the way that he did, at least in the beginning, now he knows that they were his backbone, and he's about to lose something that was really precious to him. That, in a way, I think that he did not have enough appreciation for until it was too late. I'm liking this Nicole because Nicole has had to kind of set the reset button on her life. And things are not as it appeared to be in her life. She is someone who's rational and in control, and now that she can't have control, it's making her spiral. Yeah, I don't blame her at how she feels about her child. I don't blame her. Yeah, but tell me what you think in the comments. Let me know. I appreciate everyone for coming. Like this video, subscribe, and also you again leave the comments. Until next week, peace.